From the 1930s of Mafia to a galaxy far, far away, this channel and me have been busy the past couple days. Well, it's time to suit up, prep your astromechs, and get ready for dogfight galore in Star Wars Squadrons. Star Wars Squadrons is a first-person simulator, well, sort of, it's a Star Wars dogfighting game. Now, if like me you grew up with Star Wars Rogue Squadron and you love the ship missions in Shadows of the Empire, then Squadrons aims to fill the void that has been left behind and has been empty since Rogue Squadron 3. Set after the events of Return of the Jedi, Squadrons puts you in the cockpit of the New Republic or Shattered Empire after the defeat of Endor. Now, if you've played Star Wars Rogue Squadron or you love the Starship Assault mode from Battlefront 2, then Squadrons will be right up that alley, or your alley. Squadrons is a first-person only dogfighting Star Wars game that is so simple, it's actually pretty fantastic. Now, you'll either play as a new pilot for the New Republic, or a member of the crumbling Empire. Each faction with their own iconic ships, playstyles, and even accents.
Do not underestimate patience and precision.
There is a single-player story mode here in Star Wars Squadrons which is hands down better than what we got in Battlefront 2, but isn't as structured or full of character development as, say, Jedi Fallen Order. You'll start off by creating and customizing your Imperial or New Republic pilot from their face, gender, body type, and voice, which is all pretty damn great. From here you'll be thrown into a tutorial mission teaching you how to play the game and, well, how to dogfight. The gameplay and on-screen HUD is hands down fantastic. Now, there is two ways to set up your HUDs with some handy hints and highlights, or realism mode, well, Star Wars realism mode, where everything is handled with your instrument clusters. With each ship, you'll be able to control your ship's firepower, its engines and shields. Now, obviously, ships like TIE fighters don't have shields, but they fly a fuckload faster. By diverting power into your engines, you'll obviously be able to fly faster and even go into a boost mode, but it will take power away from the shields and your laser cannons. Now, I played this on an Xbox One X, and by pushing the relevant button on the D-pad, you can quickly divert power to a certain area as need be, or with a quick press of down on the D-pad, your power will be equally diverted to every field. Funneling power into your shields lets you regenerate and restore your shields. Now, it's worth noting that shields regenerate, but your hull doesn't really repair itself. Well, sort of. You can repair hull damage in TIE fighters and TIE interceptors and TIE bombers, but you can't repair hull damage in X-wings. This is because a TIE fighter doesn't have shields. Ships with shields can even divert their shields to the front or the back of their ship, so if you're being tailed, you can divert all of your shield power to the rear of your ship, giving you full protection. Now, as TIE fighters don't have shields, but they also don't have hyperdrives or life support, you can divert extra power onto your blasters and into your engine. The extra power to the engines will instantly give you a full boost drive, allowing you to boost for the furthest duration, while firepower will make you incredibly slow, but you deal heaps of extra damage. Ships will also have special abilities such as repairing minor shield and hull damage with your astromech droid in an X-wing, dropping bombs in your Y-wing, or resupplying allied ships in the TIE Reaper. During missions in the story mode, you'll either select or be dropped into certain ships. Now, the story mode is a 7 to 8 hour tutorial of how to play certain ships and how to play Star Wars Squadrons, while multiplayer is, well, multiplayer. Multiplayer has a standard dogfight mode and a capital ship assault mode. This mode is a bit of a tug-of-war scenario with each team defeating fighters, then support frigates, and then strategically attacking a capital ship. Story mode will flip between the New Republic and Imperial points of view as your created pilot. Between missions, you return to your faction's capital ship, and these sections are like playing a VR game on a PlayStation 4. Now, for those of you who don't necessarily understand that reference, you'll be teleporting around the hangar and to the bridge, and it's a bit point and clicky. But this isn't really the game, to be honest, and I have no real issue with this. Without spoiling anything for those of you who are massive Star Wars nerds, famous characters from movies, TV shows, and even novels appear, like Rey Sloane. If this doesn't get you hardcore fans excited, please feel free to stop watching now. Gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from a first-person only dogfighting game. The attention to detail inside each cockpit is outstanding, and my only real negative is that I was playing this on an Xbox, and Xbox doesn't have a VR system, because if it did, I'd probably be creaming myself. The cockpit of each starfighter is unique and iconic. The first time I got into an X-wing or a TIE fighter, I got excited, but when I got inside a Y-wing, it felt like home. Now, there are 4 separate classes in Star Wars Squadrons. A-wings and TIE interceptors are the fastest, but deal little damage against capital ships and have weaker hulls. Bombers are incredibly powerful against fighters and starships, but they're dangerously slow and can't maneuver as fast as other fighters. X-Wing and TIE fighters are the jack of all trades, but the only real unique class is the support ships. U-Wings and TIE Reapers support other players by restocking missiles and defensive systems, and can even shoot temporary shields onto allies. Now this is the only way a TIE fighter, a TIE interceptor or a TIE bomber can have a shield. Now each ship can be customized with paint jobs, logos, upgraded weapons, different support systems, and even change your engines. So rather than having a traditional and powerful Y-Wing, you can have a somewhat nimble Y-Wing that only deals ion damage and fires cluster missiles instead of dropping bombs. Now what got me hard, but was attacking capital ships and frigates. Now if the ship has shields and you attack, you whittle away the shield's health pool before you start dealing damage to the ship itself, which is pretty straightforward and is basically the same thing if you played Star Wars Armada or Star Wars X-Wing, the board games. But if you fly through and under the shields and start shooting the ship, you'll start dealing damage to the ship directly. I found that fucking rad. Now during certain story missions, or well constantly in multiplayer, you can fly into your team's capital ship's hangar and change out your fighter. So if your team needs a bomber and you're currently in an A-Wing, you can fly in, change out your fighter and fly out, or you can just simply change it when you respawn. Now when you start to take some serious damage or you accidentally hit things, the glass inside your cockpit will start to crack as well, which is just awesome and really immerses you into this world. Now for those of you who don't know, I am a massive Star Wars fan. Me and Mrs. Duty play Star Wars X-Wing the board game, I have a Star Wars tattoo, comics, books, hot toys, replicas, the soundtrack on vinyl, so my love for Star Wars is huge. But there are some issues I had with this game. Again, these are my personal issues and you might not have the same problems as me. Firstly, there are no atmospheric levels in Squadrons, everything is in space. Battlefront 2 had a great Camino map and Rogue Squadron's Death Star levels are fantastic, and it would have been great to have these maps. Even with a Camino storm map rolling in, the weather being worse making it harder to see would have been awesome. Now the X-Wing as well is the only ship that can have an astromech repair option as a support ability. But Y-Wings also have an astromech, which I found it was weird that that wasn't a swap out ability, and you can clearly see the astromech on the Y-Wing. Squadrons feels like it's made for VR, but basically every cutscene with your pilot is just standing there from their point of view while people talk around you and at you. There's a great range of voices available for both the Imperial and the Rebels, the New Republic, and you'll only hear your character talk when they're flying their ship.
I'll pay you back for that.
It would have been great to get some more and real cutscenes. Now Squadrons also has a heap of characters, as you'll be a member of both Titan Squadron for the Empire and Vanguard Squadron. Now the members of Titan Squadron are interesting, and I honestly wanted to spend the entire campaign with the Empire because the Rebels, the New Republic, are fucking boring. There are 3 alien characters in Vanguard Squadron and they all speak English as well for some reason, which I just found that was weird. Now yes, there's cameos from certain characters, and when they appear or talk, this was the only time I cared about the New Republic story. It is a bit of a shame as well that the timeline of Squadrons isn't during the original trilogy, as replaying the attack on the Death Star, either the first Death Star or the second Death Star, or even the battle above Scarif would have been an amazing single player mission or a co-op adventure with friends. It also would have been rad having orders come in from Vader, Tarkin, or even the Emperor himself, and being in the Empire during their heyday. Though I will say, thank fuck this game does not take place during the Resistance and the First Order.
They fly now! They fly now! They fly now! Pesky flyers!
Now, I don't think there's going to be any DLC or updates for this game, but it would have been rad to have B-Wings and TIE Defenders. Now, yes, I know the TIE Defender program was scrapped and gone with Thrawn, but still, come on. Maybe a TIE Advance then, because we see one at the start of the game, and then we never see one for the rest of the game. For a $40 to $50 game though, Star Wars Squadrons is fun. The gameplay itself is entertaining, and destroying a capital ship is pretty satisfying. Now, the story is a giant tutorial, but I found the Imperial side of the story more entertaining. Now, Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 launched pretty bad, I will admit, but slowly made up for it over time, while Jedi Fallen Order was a course correction for EA and Star Wars games. Star Wars Squadrons is a step in that right direction, in my opinion. Yes, it's a simple dogfight game with only 2 online modes and a simple story, but it isn't trying to be anything else. Battlefront 2 tried to cover too many bases to the point where they just dropped all modes together and focused on the large-scale ground combat. $50 for a modern version of Rogue Squadron? Yep, take my money. Now, if you want to hear more about Star Wars Squadrons, especially the VR mode, check out the Star Wars Squadrons episode of the podcast Shaken Not Noob, which I'm a host of. But what about you? Are you enjoying Star Wars Squadrons? What would you like to see from a sequel if they ever make one? Is $40 too much for this game? Now let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, a like, share or subscribe would be rad. My upcoming video schedule at the moment is pretty exciting, with new consoles releasing, new games releasing, and of course I'm catching up to the Road to Gotham Knights, which I'm very excited for. But in the meantime, I'll be playing Star Wars Squadrons, and I'm still playing Avengers with my mates from overseas. So if you'd like to play with me, let me know in the comments below.
Great work, Vanguard Squadron. Our trap is set. Come on home. It's time for the next step.